There's a moment I want to tell you about. Julie is browsing a clothing rack, finds a jacket she actually loves, holds it up, and then just hangs it back up and keeps walking. No internal debate, no little voice telling her she's earned it. Nothing. Rewind 5 years, and that exact scene would have ruined her entire afternoon. My name is Jeff Whitfield, and welcome to My Money Mindset. I'm not a financial advisor, and this isn't advice, but my goal here is to help you improve your mindset around money. Back then, Julie wasn't destitute, just stuck in that low-grade financial fog where paychecks land and evaporate, and you can never quite trace where they went. Her salary was $46,500. Today, it's around $50,800, a small bump, nothing life-changing. There was no inheritance, no lucky break, no sudden promotion. And yet the version of Julie standing at that rack is clearly headed toward real wealth, while the version from 5 years back was not even close. Here's what almost nobody explains to you. The shift toward wealth starts in your habits, long before it ever reaches your bank statement. I've cataloged 13 of these quiet habits, and Julie had already picked up most of them without realizing it. As we go through these, be straight with yourself because you're probably already doing more of them than you'd admit. The first is this: skipping something you want no longer feels like giving something up. Once that internal sting faded for Julie, her impulse purchases dropped by roughly $225 every month. Put that toward investing instead, and 5 years later, it's turned into somewhere around $16,000. The discomfort disappeared. The money didn't. Second, you can state your real monthly spending without pulling up an app to check. For Julie, that number is close to $2,950. The first time she actually sat down and combed through 3 months of statements without flinching, she uncovered a subscription she'd forgotten existed, and a recurring fee together bleeding out about $65 a month she'd simply stopped registering. Third, you quit waiting to be saved by something external. Almost everyone secretly holds out for the raise, the bonus, the windfall that finally makes everything add up. Julie used to assume that a $72,000 job offer would solve everything. Then one evening she sat at her table and actually itemized every real expense in her life, landing on $35,500 a year. Turned out there was already an $11,000 gap between her income and that number, one she'd been quietly ignoring. The rescue she kept waiting on had been hiding inside that gap the entire time. Fourth, you stop broadcasting your finances. Julie used to tell people about every raise, every purchase, every little financial win, because part of her wanted the recognition. At some point, she just quietly stopped narrating it all to an audience, and the spending tied to that performance faded away with it. Fifth, chaos in the market stops rattling you. Julie holds roughly $17,000 in cash, about 6 months of living expenses. It's not there to earn interest, it's there so panic can't get a grip on her. When a rough stretch hit and her portfolio dropped by $8,500 on paper, she shut her laptop and cooked dinner instead. She sold nothing. 2 years on, that balance hadn't just recovered, it had grown well past where it started, while people who panic sold locked their losses in for good. That calm isn't some innate trait, it's just what a solid financial cushion feels like from the inside. Sixth, the unglamorous part runs on autopilot. $380 leaves Julie's checking account automatically each month before she can second guess it, along with another $190 headed straight to savings. She's removed from the decision entirely now. Left alone, that one recurring transfer turns into roughly $120,000 after 15 years, and she never had to feel a single one of those transfers happen. Seventh, you measure purchases in time, not price tags. A night out doesn't register as $30 to Julie anymore. It registers as a small delay to some future morning where she gets to skip the alarm entirely. Eighth, what used to be a financial emergency becomes background noise. A $750 repair bill once meant credit card debt and weeks of stress. Now it's just a Tuesday, covered from a cushion, she quietly rebuilds over the following months. Ninth, declining something doesn't require an explanation anymore. There was a dinner once where the group split the check evenly and Julie ended up covering $20 more than what she actually ordered. Now she simply pays her own share, $20, and moves the conversation along. No guilt, no justification, because the no isn't born from scarcity anymore. It comes from having a plan already in place. 10th, your spending deliberately falls behind your earnings. Julie's income climbed by roughly $4,000 over these years, while her actual spending barely shifted. That gap she refused to close turned into another $21,000, redirected into her future instead of absorbed into daily life. 11th, your mental timeline stretches into years and decades instead of 2-week pay cycles. That same automatic contribution grows to around $65,000 after a decade for Julie, and nearly $200,000 after 2. Most of that pure growth she never had to earn through work. Compounding only rewards people capable of thinking that far ahead. 12th, a mild sense of isolation creeps in. Nobody warns you about this part. The moment you stop chasing every upgrade and stop performing wealth for an audience, some people around you genuinely won't understand it. A few of Julie's friends quietly stopped including her in certain plans, assuming she'd decline anyway. That isolation isn't proof you're doing something wrong. It usually just means you're ahead of the curve, and it's often the price of ending up on solid financial ground that plenty of people earning double what Julie makes will never actually reach. 13th, and the deepest shift of all, you no longer need witnesses. Julie once wanted money largely so other people would know she had it. These days, her reasons are private, with no audience involved at all. It's about quiet mornings without dread, and the freedom to walk away from anything that's actively hurting her. Once your motivation for money turns completely inward like that, the spending that used to drain you simply stops on its own because it was never really about the purchases. It was about being seen. The moment you stop needing to be seen is the moment money finally has room to actually grow. So, take stock. Out of these 13, how many already describe you? Be generous with yourself here because you're likely further along than you think. None of these require a bigger paycheck. Every one of them is purely behavioral, something you can start today regardless of your current income. The habits arrive first. The money follows behind them because money is really just habit compounded over time. Here's your actual homework, starting immediately. This week, nail down your real monthly spending to the nearest $100, no judgment, just the number. This month, set up a single automatic transfer, even if it's only $50, so saving no longer depends on your motivation. This quarter, whenever extra income shows up, a raise, a refund, freelance work, resist letting your lifestyle swallow it and send it toward your future instead. None of this was ever really about a jacket on a rack. What it actually buys is quiet. A repair bill that's an inconvenience instead of a crisis. A no that doesn't need defending. Staying level-headed while everyone else spirals. If you feel financially stuck right now, that's real, and I'm not dismissing it. But go back through that list and count your signs because feeling stuck and being on the way to wealthy tend to overlap completely for almost everyone who eventually gets there.